Good morning, crafty friends. Happy Friday. It is April 1st. We're here for Flosstube number 77. I got the number wrong last week. We're here for Flosstube number 77 and Friday and a new month and all the things. I have the last couple of videos forgotten to introduce myself. So hi, my name is Jessie. My pronouns are she and they. I'm a non-binary queer person, crafter, stitcher, gamer, lots of things. I enjoy reading. I enjoy watching lots and lots of television and movies. I haven't talked about that here in a while, but I probably will at some point. Flosstube is where I talk about my crafts for the most part. If you've been here the last couple of weeks, you've noticed I talk about a lot of other stuff too. In addition to all of the other things I've already mentioned, I'm also a neurodivergent person. I have ADHD, and I am currently in the sort of early stages of having been diagnosed and starting to figure out what that means. For the last couple of years, I have been kind of figuring out what's going on with my brain and doing lots of like internal work to understand and learning vocabulary and stuff. So now I have words for things that I have experienced throughout my life, and I'm an adult diagnosed ADHD person, or person with ADHD. ADHD. I got diagnosed last year. I went undiagnosed for my entire life, and now that I understand more about what ADHD is and isn't, and I look back in my history, I realize that lots and lots of signs were there, but as a female presenting person, the signs that were there went unrecognized because of a lot of different things. But yeah, so I just got diagnosed last year. I do a lot of like analytical thinking about how my brain works and why I do the things I do and how I can work around obstacles and stuff like that. And I tend to talk about that a lot here. So just FYI, I am not strictly these are my crafts, here are my crafts kind of person. I talk about whatever pops up in my brain, which means that if there are current events that are greatly affecting my thought processes, or just generally affecting me as a human, I talk about those here. Just because I'm a human, and I have thoughts and I have feelings and I have opinions, and I tend to want to share those. And sometimes I use this as a platform to sort of like noodle things out, just kind of like figure out what is going on in my brain. So if all of that sounds awesome to you or sounds interesting to you, then please stay, chat. I would love to have your thoughts and feelings and whatever in the comments. If it's not your bag, that's fine. There's plenty of other floss tubers. There's probably somebody else out there who is a little bit more to your tastes and whatever. So, totally cool, totally cool. No hard feelings. It's what it is. Different strokes for different folks, as they say. But yeah, so that's me. That's me in a nutshell. Trying to think if there's anything else. I also knit. I don't crochet so much anymore, but I do knit, so I talk about knitting sometimes. My primary craft is cross stitch. I just noticed that this seam is like it's bugging me that I'm asymmetrical. Okay, sorry. There we go. That's a little bit better. Crafts, yeah. So my primary craft is cross stitch. In addition to all of those things, I also am a small business owner. I have a day job. I work in a government type job in economic development, but I am also a small business owner. I have an online stitchy store, Mislaid Pages. Mislaid Pages is who I am all over the place. I also do Twitch on occasion. Right now I'm doing Twitch lunch streams primarily, which are super fun. They're crafty lunch breaks, basically. But yeah, my online shop is actually, before I get into everything else and forget, my online shop is getting an update today, 6 p.m. Eastern. The online shop is getting an update. The Nashville releases that I talked about last week are all going to be up there. The new kits, or not new kits, but the full kits for Halloween Tales will be going up, as well as all of my currently on hand available to ship dyed fabrics, my personally dyed fabrics. I know a lot of you are super interested in that, and I cannot tell you how much it means to me to have that kind of support and have folks going, I really want this. It means a lot to me because I really enjoy doing dyed fabric, making dyed fabric. It's a process that's really fun for me, and the products of it are just it's just the whole thing is something that I really really enjoy, and to have folks be really interested in also having the things that I'm making is just it's fantastic. I put those up on Patreon first, and that went really well. There was a fantastic amount of support, and I can't thank my patrons enough. You're awesome. So everything that was left over that my patrons didn't claim is now going up on the website 6 p.m. Eastern tonight. So if you're interested in fabrics that I have dyed myself, that's going up. Also new releases and all that sort of stuff. So check out www.mislaidpages at 6 p.m. tonight for all the new things. So there's my plug. But yeah, I think that's all the things. So I'm a Flosstuber. I'm a Twitch streamer. I have a day job. I have a night job. I also have 3 cats and a husband. Yeah, that's that's the bulk of it. So for folks who are new, who have not scrolled back and checked out all the old videos, that's who I am. That's who Jessie is. So but yeah, so let's talk about crafting, because I didn't have any cross stitching I could show you last week. I did a lot of work on my model stitch. I did some more work on my model stitch this week as well, but I also stitch other things that I can show you. So I have 2 new starts, which I will show you in a minute. We're also going to talk about Whip Go, and what else? What else do we have? Oh, and I have a little bit of knitting progress. So those are the things that we're going to go over today. I don't know how long this is going to take. I do have a hard stop in like 35 minutes, so I have to keep an eye on the clock. But let's talk about new starts. So March has been hashtag Corky Quaker B-Day Sal, for Michelle Bendy's birthday, and for Aaron to Martini Stitcher's birthday, and I think several others whose birthdays are in March. So I've been stitching lots of Corky Quakers, and I thought that the Corky Quaker that I started on Monday was going to be the last one for the month. I was not correct. But we'll talk about that in a second. So I did start, this is the last of the regular charts from the Corky Quaker's Mythical Creatures. So I already did, you can't see my unicorn because she's over here, but I already did the unicorn, and I did Sasquatch, who is super cute. I love him. I did the unicorn, I did Sasquatch, and now I am doing Nessie. And I really like this. So these are silks in 2 different colors from Hand Dyed by Rwanda, and it's part of a limited edition pack. I actually used this specific pack and these colorways for a Michelle a Bendy Stitchy design that Michelle did for Be Well and Stitch back in 2020 at the beginning of the Panini. It was a free chart. I think it might still be available on her website. It's a fantastic Be Well Hamsa. I need to actually fully finish it and hang it somewhere because it's one of my favorite cross stitch pieces ever. It's just about my favorite thing that I've ever stitched. I love it. But I used these silks for that, and so obviously I still had silks left over. I decided that they would be really good colors for Nessie. So there's this kind of dark blue purple and a lighter blue, and then this is a piece of fabric that I dyed myself. So this is a piece of 28 count opal Lugana. You can see the sparkle, and the reason that I'm stitching it on the other half of this piece of fabric is because I realized that this was nice and blue, and I think I don't think I have any more bits of this particular dye lot. So I don't think that I have anything else that I can find that has that just mostly blue background. So so I'm using the other half of the unicorn. But yeah, so that's a new start. I'm probably halfway. I think I'm probably about halfway, because there are some waves that are happening on the sides here. So I'm almost done with that last corner motif, and then there are waves that go on the straight sides, and then there's a couple of motifs in the top. So I feel like I'm about halfway done with that. So yeah, I'm liking how this is going. I'll probably try to finish Nessie this weekend. And then, just when you thought that you were getting a handle on all of the Corky Quakers that were out there and trying to get them all stitched, Deanna released 3 more Corky Quakers. And y'all, so it's the funniest thing. So I think it was late in the day on, must have been Tuesday, late in the day on Tuesday. I keep looking at my calendar. I went on Instagram and I saw all of Deanna's posts about the three new releases, and I was so excited because the first one was a snail, and it was so cute. And I immediately thought of Jasmine, the knitting nurse, and my immediate first thought was, oh my gosh, has Jasmine seen this? So I posted it to my stories, and I literally said, Jasmine, have you seen this? And it turns out not only had Jasmine already seen it, but Jasmine had already been in contact or in cahoots with Alicia Resist Stitch, and they had already come up with a hashtag for Sal. And it was phenomenal. It was phenomenal. I was so excited. So I felt like, oh, I'm a little late to the party, but at the same time, it was so funny because I think Jasmine got tickled that they were my first thought. Like literally, my first thought was, has Jasmine seen this? So yeah, that was. So on Wednesday, I had to start Sheldon the snail. So this is part of Quirky Quakers in the Garden, and this is Sheldon the snail. There's also a butterfly, and there is a bee, and I can't remember their names, but they're all fantastic. Probably if I continue on with more Quirky Quakers through the next month, which why wouldn't I? But probably the next Quirky Quaker I stitch is actually going to be the bee, because it is so cute. But yeah, I couldn't get over Sheldon. Sheldon is just amazing. I love Sheldon. So yeah, and I love these little mushrooms. I love the mushrooms. I don't know why I love the mushrooms so much, but I really do. So yeah. And if you're wondering why I'm stitching way off in the corner like this, I probably should have stitched this 1/1 instead of 2/2. But the main reason that I'm stitching way off in the corner is because I'm hoping to get possibly 4 Quirky Quakers out of this one piece of fabric. Because I think this is a fantastic color for Quirky Quakers. I'm pretty sure the moose is another one I'm going to put on here. I'm not sure what else, but I wanted to get as many Quirky Quakers as I could, and I thought, well, I can probably get 4. I may need to stitch the others 1/1 instead of 2/2, but we'll see. So so that is Sheldon, and Sheldon is just so freaking cute. I can't even. Let's see, for this is, the fabric is Fortnite Fabrics. It's one of my oodles of ornaments, small cuts that I think, according to Jasmine, this is probably February's pack. Because I think Jasmine used the same fabric. It's a 32 count linen, and then the threads I'm using, instead of using I think it calls for a Classic Colorworks and a Gentle Arts, but I'm using a Fiberlicious and a not Classic Colorworks, Color and Cotton. So the green is Color and Cotton Mistletoe. The yellow is Fiberlicious Honey Amber, I think. Okay, they're not close enough for me to see. I think it's Honey Amber. It's in a recent Floss of the Month pack. I can't remember if it's March's or if it's from like last fall or something. But yeah, so those are my colors. I love them. I love Sheldon. Sheldon's so awesome. So yeah, so that's what I've been stitching this week. That's all the stitching that I've done. Other than having stitched on my model on Sunday. So I need to get some more model stitching in. I'm trying to like do some weekly stitching on it instead of going like I have been, which is like do a massive amount of stitching on it one weekend and then do other stitching. I want to do like a decent amount of stitching on it once a week instead of a massive amount of stitching once a month. Especially because my goal is to get that finished by June. So we're getting close to June, y'all. And I have a lot of stitches. It's got it actually has less than 13,000 stitches because of the way that Pattern Keeper does things. But the way I've counted it out is 13,000 and change. And I've only done 3,500 so far, so I have a little ways to go. The good thing is it's a really enjoyable stitch. I'm really liking when I stitch on it. I just need to buckle down, stitch on it more. So, but part of the reason it hasn't gotten a lot of love in the last month and a half was because I wasn't stitching a lot in the last month and a half. So lots of extenuating circumstances, as they say. And Momo has joined us. What you doing? What you doing? Are you gonna get in my lap? Okay. I think she knows that I have cereal over here that I haven't eaten. And now we're gonna. That was the other thing I forgot to mention. The cats invade fairly often. Loki did take over Wednesday's stream. Yeah, it was Wednesday's stream. And I fought it for a little while. I kept trying to kind of get him to settle down so I could get back to stitching. And then I realized that honestly, everybody was just as happy to see the cat as they were to see the stitching. So I just gave up and let him be on camera. So that's that's sometimes how our lunch times go. It just is what it is. Goodness, Momo, how are you still shedding so much? Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Anyway, so yeah, that's the stitching that I have done this week. That's all the stitching that I can show you. But we can talk about WIPGO. So the numbers were called earlier this week, and April's numbers are 7 and 10. WIPGO, for the folks that are not familiar, WIPGO is a little bit like Stitchy Bingo or Crafty Bingo. So you set up a board, and if I have time in editing, I'll put up my board right here. You set up a board that looks very much like a bingo board, and you put you can put specific projects, which is what I've done. You can put specific projects on the board that you want to get progress on, and you can decide how much, what your goal for that piece is. And it can be a goal just for that month if that's what you want, or it can be a goal for the whole year. It's your board, your rules. That's because WIPGO is from Jessie Marie of Jessie Marie Does Stuff. That is her brainchild that she has shared with all of us, which is fantastic. And it's just meant to be a way to motivate you to work on the things that you want to work on. So it is completely your board, your rules. There's no hard and fast anything, and there's no WIPGO police. So it's all about what you want to accomplish and what feels good and works for you. So some folks, instead of putting, and Rachel does this over at Rachel Raycraft, Rachel does this, instead of putting specific projects, they'll put themes, and then they pick projects when that theme comes up. They pick projects that fit for that theme, and that works if you're the kind of person that doesn't do well with being told what to do. In most situations, I don't like being told what to do, but I find that putting specific projects on my board helps me not only to decide, because I have trouble deciding what I want to work on sometimes, but it also helps me figure out if a certain project is something that maybe I want to consider retiring. Because if it comes up and I'm just like, ooh, no, then that's a pretty good indication that maybe that's one that I want to put on the shelf for a while and see if I really want to stitch on it. And also, if I'm having trouble deciding, it also can work in the way that, you know, a certain thing will pop up and I'll be like, oh, I really wish this other one was called instead. So it helps from that aspect too. So if I just have no idea what I want to stitch, like I'm just open to anything and I can't decide what I want to stitch, then it picks for me. Or when something's called and I'm like, I'm really not feeling that, I think I want to do this other thing, that helps me pick. So it's good from that standpoint. It also helps me, it prevents me from completely forgetting about WIPs, because I do have a tendency to be a little out of sight, out of mind. So having all of my WIPs, because I only have a few WIPs that are not on the board, and the WIPs that I have that are not on the board are WIPs that I started at the beginning of this year. Everything else, except for one special piece that I'm working on as a memorial piece, everything else I have is on that board. So it helps me to work on pieces that I might otherwise forget. So that's why I do WIPGO. I love WIPGO for those reasons. And yeah, so that's WIPGO. WIPGO in a nutshell. And everything's in a nutshell today. Have you noticed that? You're just really, she's just extra this morning. I don't know what her deal is. Okay, where is it? So boxes 7 and 10 were called. So I forget which is which, but one of those is, can I put you down, please? The two project, now I have cat hair everywhere. The two projects that were called for me were, Gathering Berries. This is Luminous Fiber Arts. I'm stitching it on a 40 count mallow using Bing Cherry from Classic Color Work, not Classic, from Color and Cotton. Pardon. And I recently realized that this chart is available in PDF. So I've been stitching from the paper chart all this time, but I think I'm going to purchase the PDF chart because I think it'll help me get faster. I'm probably about halfway, maybe 40%, somewhere between 40 and 50% finished with this. I think my goal for the year is to finish it, but as long as I get at least, 5 hours, 500 stitches in it, I think I'll be happy. So I would like to start the other charts in the Gathering series at some point, but I've kind of decided that I'm only going to work on one at a time. Also, I don't know if I have any more of this mallow fabric, so I have to figure that out because I wasn't super thrilled about about my decision to do this on 40 count. I'm getting more used to 40 count, so it's not as big a deal. But originally I wasn't as thrilled about it because I realized, having started this one on 40 count, I'm going to have to do them all on 40 count. And I think I do want them on this specific fabric. So not just all the same size, but I want them on this specific fabric. I don't know how I'll ultimately fully finish them, but I want them all to match. I want them all to go together. So that is that. So this is one of my Whip Go calls. I can't remember which number it is. And I think it's funny because all of my bird related stitches are now coming up in Whip Go, even though I didn't work on them in, in February. So yeah, so that's for April, which I think that's a great chart for April too. Because it's birds and berries and we're going into spring. I think it's just fantastic. The only one that might be better is actually gathering clover instead of gathering berries. But I think both of them are fantastic for spring. So that is one of my April Whip Go goals. And then the second one is Animal Almanac. This is a Frosted Pumpkin Stitchery chart. I'm trying to get the best light. Frosted Pumpkin Stitchery chart, and I am stitching this on the called for fabric, which is a Picture This Plus Heartland Homestead something, I can't remember, and also DMC, and I think two etoiles. So yeah, I'm using all the called fors because I purchased the whole kit. This is a 2020 stitch along. There was one animal for each month, and each one was numbered for the month in which it came up. So you can see I got really, really far. So yeah, again, that you did not hear that incorrectly. That is 2020, Animal Almanac from 2020. It is now 2022. I have exactly 2 animals in my almanac. So anyway, my goal will be to get at least one new animal, because I think I finally finished Fiona, or did I call her? I forget what I've called the fox. I think Frosted Pumpkin's name was actually Remy. Or maybe I'm getting that backwards. Maybe I wanted the fox to be named Remy and the fox actually got named Fiona. I don't remember. Regardless, I think I'm done with the fox. I have to check the pattern keeper to see if I've actually finished that. So I think I'm ready to go on to the next one. But yeah. So I would like to get at least one new animal completely finished. That would be my goal. I think I still have to do the back stitching on the fox. There's no back stitching yet. So yeah, that's probably a thing. But yeah, so those are my 2 goals. As an update from March's Whip Go, I did nothing. I did nothing for Whip Go in March. It is what it is. March, for some reason, and if I sit and I think about why March might be a hard month for me, it's actually not that difficult. It's not like a super secret thing. Why March might be a difficult month for me, because. And without getting too deeply into it, but March yesterday was actually my dad's birthday, but my dad passed away in 2009. He would have been 79. So there's that reminder of my father. And then my stepdad actually passed away in March, around the 24th, back in 2014. So probably that's why March is difficult for me, even though, like, consciously I don't tend to think about that. I do think about my dad's birthday, because I'm the kind of person, I prefer, when I've lost someone, I prefer to remember them on celebration days instead of like the sad days. So I don't do anything special for the days that folks that I love passed away. I don't do anything special on those days. In fact, I do my best to not think about it at all, just let it be a day, because I have known too many loved ones in the past who focused really heavily on the days that they lost people that they loved. And I always felt like it was a negative thing for them. So I've made it a point in my life and my experiences to focus on the days that were celebration days. So generally, I think about my mom, my stepdad, my dad. I think about them most on their birthdays, anniversaries, things like that. So yeah. Anyway, not going to get any further into that because I can feel it. I can feel it. But yeah, I think maybe that might be why March is hard. Because March was hard. I mean, there was other stuff going on. Obviously, there's been a lot of stuff going on. But the last couple of weeks in February, the first 2/3 of March were really difficult, like mentally and emotionally for me. I feel like I've come out of that and I'm feeling really good and productive this week, especially. Like I've been busy this week, but it's been a good, productive busy. Like I feel good about the things that I've gotten done this week, and I've done a lot this week. Not even just with work, but getting a lot of stuff set up on the website and things like that. And it's felt good. So I'm in a good mental place right now. But I think maybe in addition to all the other things that were going on, I think probably, having lost some folks and remembering folks that I have lost in March probably adds to some of that. So yeah, so no WIPGO anything in March, and I'm okay with that because my WIPGO board is actually still looking pretty good. I got enough extra stuff done in January. I finished a few things that didn't need to be finished yet, that hadn't been called yet. So really, I think my net result is that I have, if I remember correctly, because I haven't looked at my board before I did this video. I think I have 5 WIPGO boxes completed total, and at the end of March, if I had met all of my called goals, I'd have 6 boxes filled. So that's not so bad. 5 out of 6 boxes. And because I already did stuff that'll get called later, that's basically like free time as far as WIPGO goes. So I still have plenty of time to work on the things that I haven't touched yet. So I know that one of my WIPGO goals in February, and I can't remember what it was, something that was called in February, I don't think I worked on. And then neither Queen of the Sea, Dark Queen of the Sea, or Blackbird Fractor got touched in March. So that's 3 things to work on at some other point during the year, and then we now have the new April calls. So I'm feeling good about April. I'm feeling like I'm ready to jump in. I do have a lot of irons in the fire in the next few months, but it's gonna be okay. I'm gonna get it done. It's gonna be fine. I'm feeling, of course, I say this now, I'm feeling really comfortable with kind of where things are as far as like how my schedule's laid out and the amount of things that I'm trying to do. I'm feeling comfortable with it now. And I say that recognizing that now that I'm comfortable and I have like found my footing, in May I have to go back to the office. So we'll see how that goes. I don't remember if I already mentioned that here, but yeah, in May we're going back to the office. It'll be hybrid. I'll be able to work from home, hopefully 2 days a week. For certain 1 day a week, but probably 2 days a week. It just, there's still details that need to be hammered out by the organization. So, but probably 2 days a week I'll be working from home, which is fantastic. It's not as good as 5 days, but I will take it. I will take it over being in the office for 5 days. So yeah, it's going to be an adjustment. I'm going to have to relearn how to function just in general, because it'll be a whole new schedule. I'll have to rework several things. Like I'm not going to be able to do all of my Twitch streams, because I won't have the same at-home days that I had before. And, so I'll have to rework how all of that goes. But we'll see. I'm optimistic. I'm feeling confident. I'm feeling like I got this. So as long as that holds and my hormones don't like mess up my brain in the next couple of months, or at least if they do, hopefully they will only mess them up for a couple days at a time and things will be okay. But I'm feeling good. I'm feeling optimistic. I'm feeling like I can handle this. So yeah. I'm going into it with hope and optimism, and we'll do the best we can because that's all we can do, right? Okay, so that's all the stitching. That's all the stitching. I have 13 minutes, so let me show you some knitting, and then I'm gonna jump off of here and let you go and go on with the rest of my day. Okay. I need to watch these videos back because I can tell just from how I'm talking that things are way different this week, especially compared to 2 weeks ago. So I need to watch these back and start taking notes and start tracking trends and things. This is the analytical part of my mind. I'm very analytical, if you hadn't been able to tell. I analyze everything, especially my own brain and my own behavior. Okay. So last thing for today is my sock. It's my sock. This is the only knitting I've been working on because this is just what my brain wants to focus on. Also, I'm definitely finding that one of the main benefits of sock knitting is that you can pick up and put down a sock any old time. If you're not doing some kind of complicated pattern, you can pick up and put down a sock. There's no fiddling with it. Like I literally have just the one skein and I can take it all over the place. I currently have it in my, this is my Broken Crafty tie-dye bag. It's my favorite bag. It's so cute. So yeah, this is Broken Crafty. And she made these a couple of months ago, and I was thrilled because she only had, I think, this and one other tie-dye bag. They were like one of a kinds. And I snagged it super quick. I was so happy. So she's doing some zipper pouches too. I don't remember if the release has already happened. I honestly stayed away from it because I don't have the funds right now. I'm trying to save some funds for some yarn countdowns for the winter times. So I don't have the funds, but there's some fantastic zipper bags. So anyway, sock knitting. You can see I don't have a ton of progress compared to last week. I've got about 2 inches of the 8 inches I think I need for the foot. So after 8 inches, I will start working on the toe, which I plan to do in the same way that I did the heel, and then I'll probably be using the Kitchener stitch to attach the top of the toe to the top of the foot. So essentially, it'll keep growing this way, and then I'll do the toe. So like I said, I got for me about 10 rows is an inch, and I should be just about ready to put another pin there. So this is where the heel started, and we've got one pin and about ready for a second pin. So I've been just I haven't knitted on this a ton. I've just kind of picked it up here and there and knitted on it for 20 minutes or something like that. So not a ton of progress, but I am making progress. There's a visible foot happening there. So I'm very excited to try to get to the end of this one. I'm gonna force myself to do the second one in the same way that I did this one. So I'm gonna do a cuff down and try to do a twisted rib at the cuff. So when I do the second one, I want it to look as much like this one as I can manage, understanding that it's probably gonna look fairly different. So I'm gonna do a cuff down for the mate for this sock, but after that I'm excited to cast on my first ever toe up socks, because apparently now I'm a sock knitter. I have been converted. It is a thing. But yeah, I'm gonna have to learn how to defocus from the socks and just pick them up when I have spare time or just a few minutes or something, but still knit on my other things because I have a lot of knitting projects, or what I consider a lot of knitting projects, and I also have a metric ton of yarn, so I need to knit more things. I need to knit all the things. Also, I still have my Asylum Fibers yarns over here that I want to turn into a slip stravaganza, so I need to get some things going. If only there were more hours in a day so I could craft more things. That is my constant refrain these days. So anyway, yep, so that's my sock, and I think that's all I have for you today. It is almost time for me to get going, or it's pretty much time for me to get going. I have just a couple minutes to transition. So I hope you're having the best day, week, weekend, month that is available to you. I will not be perpetrating any April Fool's nonsense. I'm not into it. It's not my thing. As much as possible, I hope other people are doing the same. I think that sometimes pranks can be fun when I think that there are certain circumstances where pranks can be fun. In general, I'm not a fan of pranks. In general, I think that they end up being more harm than humor. So I'm not a fan. Hoping to get through this day without any major incidents. And I don't think I even need to ask y'all to not do the common hurtful things that people do, because I feel like all of y'all out there are not the kind of people that would do that anyway. But hopefully there will be no hurtful pranks today. But yeah, so that's that. I hope you're having the best day, week, and month that's available to you. And remember what I always say, make sure you stay hydrated, make sure you take all of your meds, and remember that you are enough. And I will see you again next time. Bye.